Hello and welcome to our program. Women empowerment, gender parity, equal opportunity. These are words much in use today across conversations. In fact, we also have the 8th of March, which is celebrated every year as International Women's Day, Women's Empowerment Day, and so on. But what really is women's empowerment? Does it have a social, political, and cultural context? Or is it something which is very, very new, just started some years back? Or really does it have traditional and a historical context too? And did we somewhere lose the parity in between? Let's learn a little more about all this. Please welcome on our show today Professor Savitha Singh, who is a poet, a feminist, and a theorist. Welcome, Savitha, to our program.
Thank you very much.
In fact, a feminist, and you proudly call yourself one.
Yes, I do.
What really, or who really is a feminist?
It's a very good question, and it has a very complicated answer. But let me give you just a kind of a very standard answer.
Okay.
Feminism is a position which has historically developed in the West, in India, in almost all over the world now, which recognizes that a certain category of gender, known as feminine gender, is basically oppressed because of their gender situation.
Okay.
And it is this oppression that feminism addresses.
Okay.
So, it is a recognition of oppression of female gender that brings in feminism. But it has a broader range as well. Feminism also is now part of gender studies, all right, in which there are other genders which are also oppressed.
Okay.
And so, feminists are the first ones to basically address their problems as well. So,
Right.
today we have, in the name of feminism, we have a very complex theoretical structure within which all of us are thinking about restructuring our societies in such a way that there is parity or there is fairness of a different order, not only political order, but also gender. Gender is the base where one has to go to be able to restructure the society.
Right. So today, women empowerment, it's the buzzword across the corridors of power, across the social sector, even across the corporate sector. We talk of parity, equal opportunity. But you have deeply delved into issues of gender and parity. What are some critical pain points which actually take away parity and bring about inequality?
Parity is something that we are aspiring to bring. To start with, we have had inequality. It is this inequality kept in a very oppressive manner, leading to all kinds of violence towards women particularly, and also towards other genders.
Okay.
That is what is the starting point, all right. The parity is to address this problem, and this gender parity cannot be just brought about by some semblance of policies. As I said in the beginning, it's a gender oppression that is the basic, the base structure. And this oppression is manifested, or it is structured around, as you pointed out in your introduction, culture, politics, economics, society. Everywhere you go, you will find that our societies, particularly the capitalist society that we have today, it is based on patriarchy. I am introducing this word right now because it is patriarchy. It's a system of oppression of women in a systematic manner. That is what is the issue. And the fact of the matter is that capitalist world, it is the capitalism has got structures of the kind that it has a basic structure and it has a superstructure. At the level of superstructure, you have politics, you have culture. At the level of basic structure, you have economics. So, the basic value or the basic motive of this particular system is maximization of profit and wealth.
Okay.
If this particular goal of this capitalist patriarchy is getting affected by women's oppression, it will revise. So, what is happening is there is a very scientifically calibrated understanding today that if you do not allow women to participate in labor force, your profit margins are not going to be what you expect to be.
So there's an economic argument for parity.
Very, very important. You know, since you mentioned the corporate world, why
Right.
they are also opening up. they need women's labor, they need women's power. Capacity to labor is what is women's power, by the way. It is not only, you know, superficial parity that I can do what you can do. That's not what brings equality. It is the goal of a particular mode of production, the goal of patriarchy. If it is requiring women's participation, then it will allow, then it will restructure itself, and it's a global phenomenon. Capitalism has benefit because of women's labor, because it's cheap labor. It allows profit to be 4 or 5 times more than if they simply employ men's labor.
Right.
That kind of thing is there. So if you look at the revolution that took place in Southeast Asia, you know, feminization of labor is the term that is known. More and more women were brought into a particular kind of chip industry, electronics and so on and so forth. And in IT today, if you don't have women, you will be losing a lot.
Right.
So that is the point.
Right. So before we delve further into what are the various economic, political and social arguments for saying parity is critical to collective growth, wanting to take you back, a young child's or a person's first exposure to a gender imbalance, because that somewhere reflects in how we think, the language we start using, and how a lot of women get used to certain language and terms and take it for granted that that's the way it's going to be. But those terms are deeply reflective of
I'm very glad you. This is called gender roles, right? From the very beginning, you are basically thrashed, punished, you know, throttled, burnt, whatever it takes. Society wants, the patriarchal society wants you to perform your gender role. If you don't perform it, then they fear that something will happen. There will be a collapse, there will be power imbalance, because you see, the unequal power is also balanced. So if there is a certain kind of role reversal, this imbalance gets created, and that creates a mounting sort of, you know, very psychological, deeply psychological moral problem for a lot of people. You know, even women are very patriarchal. That's the point.
Absolutely.
Women are allowed, women are structured, their roles are structured in such a way that they begin to value their own patriarchal roles. Like a mother, you know, it's a complicated thing. If I say, people might just think, what am I saying? But mothers are also very patriarchal. They give the same values to the daughters. They don't, and they allow their sons to grow up differently and their daughters to grow up differently, and it's mothering. You know, it is something very complicated, and if you say these things today, a lot of men think that you are breaking the family, you are doing this, you are doing that, and they can never explain when their daughters go out, when they get harassed, when violence is, you know, committed against them, they're clueless, because they themselves have created this gender roles. If a woman, if a girl is out in the night, 9 o'clock onwards, you have a problem. She will face violence. I mean, it is justified. These kinds of things one has to understand.
So the question is asked that why is a woman alone out at 9 o'clock?
Exactly.
Because
she should be at home, because her role, her vital role that she plays in the society is the role of a wife or a daughter, or a sister. And all these roles, all these gender roles are valued so far as she is upholding the household. If she is a household creature, if she is a domestic creature, she is given all the respect or whatever. I mean, she is tolerated basically. But once she ventures out, but today our global capitalism, our global capital requires women's labor. So the gates have been opened up. They will have to go out.
Right.
They will have to work. That is why also in workplace you have a lot of harassment.
जब हम बोलते हैं कि men and women there is parity required, पुरुषों को ये देखना है कि महिलाओं को बराबरी का दर्जा दिया जाए, बट कहीं महिलाएं भी महिलाओं को बराबरी का दर्जा कहीं, और उनके मन में ये है कि ये बराबरी कहीं गलत तो नहीं है. और आई थिंक ये जब हम परपेचुएट करते हैं, जब बेटियां होती हैं, बेटे होते हैं, और हम माओं के रोल में उनको ट्रीटमेंट अलग देते हैं, तो कहीं हम एक विशियस साइकिल सेट इनटू.
एग्जैक्टली. माता पिता ये सब जो शब्द हैं ये बहुत अच्छे हैं, क्योंकि माता पिता बच्चों को पालते हैं, लेकिन वो क्या वैल्यूज़ देते हैं उनको भी अब बहुत सेल्फ रिफ्लेक्टिव होना चाहिए. वो सरकार से सिर्फ नहीं डिमांड कर सकते कि आप ये लाओ, ये कानून लाओ, ये पुलिस लाओ, ये कैमरा लगाओ, ये फलाना करो. उससे सिर्फ नहीं होने को है, इससे एक बेसिक इन्वायरमेंट ज़रूर बनता है जिसमें सिक्योरिटी पॉसिबल है। लेकिन जो जेंडर वायलेंस है सिर्फ सिक्योरिटी का मामला नहीं है, ये जेंडर रोल्स का मामला है जिसमें परिवर्तन आना ही आना है, क्योंकि हम जिस समय में अब रह रहे हैं और जो पूंजीवादी व्यवस्था की ज़रूरत है उसमें हर किसी को काम करना, हर किसी के लेबर का वैल्यू होने जा रहा है। सो यू कैनॉट रियली ब्लेम women फॉर venturing out or wearing a certain kind of outfit or whatever. It is like blaming a victim for victimizing her. You know, it's like
a double whammy.
Exactly, it's not fair. It's quite unfair to blame women for violence.
All right. आपने वैल्यू टू वर्क आपने उसकी बात करी। सो घर से तो बाहर महिलाएं जा ही रही हैं, पर घर में जो इतना काम वो करती हैं उसकी जो हम वैल्यूएशन है उसको भी नहीं।
किसी के मन में ये जरा भी कंपैशन नहीं आया। हमारा समाज जब बदला है, यानी कि 90s के बाद जब ये इकोनॉमी ओपन हुई है, तब से डबल बर्डन औरतों की किस्मत बन गई है, ठीक है ना, उनकी डेस्टिनी बन गई है। लेकिन किसी के मन में ये परिवर्तन तो हो गया, लेकिन किसी के मन में ये परिवर्तन नहीं आया कि उसका ये रोल चेंज कर रहा है तो उसको क्या करना चाहिए, उसके लिए क्या सपोर्ट सिस्टम होना चाहिए। देयर इज एब्सोल्युटली नो सपोर्ट सिस्टम फॉर हर। वो वापस आएगी काम करके, उसका घर में ज्यों का त्यों सभी लोग अपना रोल प्ले कर रहे होंगे, पाँव रख करके उस पर टेबल पे हस्बैंड जो अखबार पढ़ रहे होंगे, वेट करेंगे कि वो आके कप चाय बनाए। वो थकी हारी हुई आई है, उसको कोई चाय बना के नहीं देगा। आप जाकर के सर्वे करके देखो, मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स दिस इज व्हाट हैपनिंग। देन सबके डिमांड्स कलेक्ट होते रहते हैं। जैसे वो आएगी, ये नहीं हुआ, वो नहीं हुआ, फलाना नहीं हुआ, और शाम का डिनर है, ये वो सब करेगी, बच्चे को सुबह भेजो। इट इज़ लाइक शी इज़ वर्किंग मोर देन एनिमल्स इन दिस कंट्री, यू नो। एक ये भी रिपोर्ट है दैट ऑन एवरेज women work more than even animals in this society.
Okay.
So there's no compassion for her. There's no revision of, attitude towards women's labor. It's very insensitive. This insensitivity allows women to be violated.
I think we're also looking at only pockets of progress of women empowerment. जब हम empowerment की बात करते हैं तो उस एम्पावरमेंट में कितने भारत बसते हैं। कुछ जगहों में है, कुछ में बिल्कुल ही नहीं है, कुछ में तो उनकी रिकग्निशन ही नहीं है। तो विमेन और सारी शक्ति पॉकेट्स में तो नहीं आ सकती ना। वी हैव टू राइज टुगेदर। सो व्हाट कैन पॉलिसी और पीपल डू टू मेक श्योर दैट ये जो बातें भी हम कर रहे हैं, जो चर्चा कर रहे हैं, ये कहीं पॉकेट्स या ड्राइंग रूम्स या टेलीविजन शोज तक ना रहे, हमारे निजी जीवन में भी आए।
इसमें प्रॉब्लम कई है
जी।
जैसे पॉलिसी की रीच उस हद तक होती है जिस हद तक उसका इम्प्लीमेंटेशन हो सकता है। हम ऐसी पॉलिसी न बनाएं जिसको हम इम्प्लीमेंट न कर सकें। Women are also now fed up with just policies being made and its implementation value being zero.
Right.
ये एक चीज़ है, ये तो सरकार को खुद ही देखना चाहिए कि हमने जो पॉलिसी बनाई उसमें हम कितना इन्वेस्टमेंट कर रहे हैं। इट्स अ मैटर ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट बेसिकली। व्हेन यू गो टू इम्प्लीमेंट योर पॉलिसी, हमारे यहाँ मतलब अगर आप देखो तो बहुत प्रोग्रेसिव पॉलिसीज हैं। हमारे यहाँ जेंडर बजटिंग है, इट हैज़ बीन देयर फ्रॉम 9th प्लान।
Okay.
30% ऑफ एंटायर बजट इज जेंडर्ड.
It means a lot of it happens as on paper or tokenism.
No.
That it's been covered.
टोकनिज्म नहीं है,
Okay.
उसमें पार्शियल इम्प्लीमेंटेशन हो पाता है, और जो पूरा नहीं हो पाता है वो इसलिए कि पॉलिसीज पेट्रियार्की को अटैक नहीं करती। जब तुम पेट्रियार्की जिसकी वजह से सारा प्रॉब्लम है उसको ही तुम कहोगे नहीं ये मॉरली अनटचेबल चीज़ है, तब कैसे हो सकता है? तो हमें ये कहना होगा कि भाई फादर जो हैं वो ऑप्रेसिव हैं अपनी बेटियों को लेकर के, मदर जो हैं वो बैकवर्ड हैं, अपनी बेटियों की प्रोग्रेस को नहीं समझ रही हैं। ये हमें कहना होगा। हम ये नहीं कह सकते हर वक्त कि नहीं प्रणाम प्रणाम सबको प्रणाम करो और कुछ नहीं कहो, ऐसा नहीं है। Young children should be able to tell their parents, and they should be taken seriously, that they want to lead their lives differently. Times have changed. Opportunities are differently calling them differently. They have to become different human beings. They can't remain the same kinds of people.
And this has no conflict with respect.
No conflict with respect. The parents have to realize themselves,
Absolutely.
that it is not basically an affront. It is a genuine demand on the part of these young children and girls. Girls, you can't stop women from aspiring to be educated, to have good jobs. How can you? But the conditions of realizing these good jobs and realizing this kind of opportunities have got to be looked at critically by way of changing prevailing not attitudes, patriarchal attitudes of men and women around.
If we were supposed to say that we want to change and break this attitude, what are some things and actions that we could do?
Patriarchy is not only maintained by gender roles that we are talking about. Patriarchy is also maintained by our belief in caste system. You will find that a Dalit woman is oppressed 100 times more than a non-Dalit woman, and those who are less oppressed should not celebrate it. They should rather identify their oppression with Dalit women.
Okay.
That is when they will form solidarity. That is when all of them will be uplifted simultaneously. It's not only through policies, it's through revising how we live our lives as a society, as a country. What kind of patriarchy do we have? Our patriarchy is also caste patriarchy. Also, there are religious problems. You know, in the name of, and I'm not being apologetic, I must say that in the name of religion, lot of privacy is demanded. You know, and nobody should interfere.
Okay.
And they take advantage of that privacy clause, if you want to say.
Okay.
And everything that is anti-women or patriarchal is practiced under that. So we have to find a way of addressing that. You know, you have to negotiate the spaces that have been given by our nation state, the spaces, the private space and public space. We have to negotiate the difference. We have to change the boundaries a bit. You know, those kinds of things also have to be done, and they are very difficult. You know, political parties can lose elections if they try to do this. So I think feminism is also calling out to our leaders that women should be allowed to participate in politics. They should be given equal opportunity, or not. If you can't give equal, you should at least give 33% reservation that they're asking for. You allow them to be in the policy making, you know, committees or boards or whatever. Lot of women also who make policies, they're not aware that gender sensitivity is important when you're making gender policies. It's not a common sense. You cannot make it on the basis of common sense. Policies that will really change lives of women and lives of men who are oppressed as well. You know,
Right.
through caste, through religion, through whatever. You know, those kinds of very compact system of inequality. This substantial inequality needs to be reversed by another understanding of substantial equality. That is what is required.
There is also the larger umbrella of violence. So violence in society and violence against women, are the levers or the critical movers different?
No, they are not. It's just that when it comes to gender, it's like it's much deeper.
Okay.
The boundaries are more clear, you know. But violence has been there in, what should I say, if you look at the history, look at the colonial history, for example. You know, we are talking about colonialism of, say, 16th, 17th, 18th century, particularly Western powers. It was very violent. These nation states have been raised with violence, wars, two world wars.
Right.
They were all colonial wars, imperialist wars. So, lot of violence has been there in terms of men aspiring to have wealth. Today, the big capital that is coming to our country, you have to watch out how this big capital is going to operate, how it is going to affect smaller business entrepreneurs in this country. You know, there will be a lot of violence, subtle, not the ones that are open violence, subtle,
Right,
but there will be. So violence is everywhere. It's for power, economic power and political power and social power. It is for power that you employ violence. As far as women are concerned, because power is also enhanced by oppressing people. Power is enhanced and maintained by exploiting deeply other people's labor. So women's labor is slave labor is free labor. So the household has been kept where all that labor, domestic labor, is free.
Okay.
So they will not like to free women from the household structure, which is part of the capitalist order.
Okay.
So it's very deep rooted. It's not, you should never believe anybody saying that this person is violent and that person is not violent.
Right.
That doesn't explain the nature of violence.
हिंसा का इफेक्ट जो होता है, क्या वो पुरुष और महिलाओं पे अलग अलग लेवल पे होता है?
बिल्कुल. ये तो बहुत ही वेल डॉक्यूमेंटेड है, इतने सारे फिल्म्स और डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज हैं इस विषय पे कि जब भी, और आज ही नहीं, जब भी युद्ध हुआ, यहाँ तक फेमिनिस्टों का कहना है कि जो पहला मेजर किस्म का युद्ध हुआ
जी,
दो गुटों में या उसमें, वो स्त्रियों के लिए ही हुआ, क्योंकि स्त्रियों के पास एक ऐसी शक्ति है जिससे पूरी दुनिया चलती है, वो है प्रजनन की शक्ति। सिर्फ उनकी ब्यूटी की नहीं ली, वो बाद में वो सब कुछ हुआ है। शुरुआत में सर्वाइवल के लिए, ट्राइब सर्वाइव कर सकें, लोग जो ग्रुप्स में इकट्ठे हो गए थे और रहने लगे थे, सोशल लाइफ वो जी सकें, उनका चल सके,
आगे वंश
चल सके, उसके लिए ये पैट्रियार्की के इन्वेंशन में या उसके स्ट्रक्चर्ड होने में इसका बहुत बड़ा रोल है कि किस तरह से स्त्रियों को कैप्चर किया जाए, कैसे उनकी इस शक्ति का उपयोग किया जाए, और ये आज भी चल रहा है। ज़्यादातर हमारी रिप्रोडक्टिव कैपेसिटी जो है उसका कंट्रोल आज तक पुरुषों के हाथ में है, थ्रू मैरिज, थ्रू वेरियस अदर काइंड्स ऑफ मॉरल स्ट्रक्चर्स। औरतों का जो रिप्रोडक्टिव पावर है वो पुरुषों के ही हाथ में है आज भी। तो वहाँ से वो शुरुआत होती है इस चीज़ की, और क्योंकि जो कैप्चर होता है और जो कैप्चर करता है उसके दोनों के पोजीशन में तो ऑलरेडी फ़र्क आ ही गया
जी।
तो आप समझ सकते हैं कि जब वायलेंस, जब हिंसा होती है तो उसका आउटकम अलग अलग है। पुरुषों के लिए उनका वंश का चलाना और स्त्री के लिए वंश को पैदा करना, है ना। तो ये चीज़ अभी भी जहाँ कहीं भी युद्ध चल रहे हैं आप पाएंगे कि युद्ध में स्त्रियों को टॉर्चर किया जाता है, उनको रेप करते हैं, उनके इलीगल बच्चे होते हैं, मतलब इलीगल इन द सेंस इलेजिटिमेट बच्चे होते हैं रेप के ज़रिए, जो भी उसका भी सारा भुगतान उनको करना पड़ता है, यू नो। तो वॉर जो है वो स्त्रियों के लिए कहीं ज़्यादा भयानक है, क्योंकि वॉर के बाद, युद्ध के बाद जो विजय जिसको मिलती है वो स्त्रियों को नहीं मिलती, वो पुरुषों को मिलती है, वही विजयी होते हैं। तो वो जब भी विजयी होंगे वो उसको अपने ही सिस्टम को और दुरुस्त करते हैं, उस सिस्टम, ऑपरेसिव सिस्टम को और वो रिफाइन करते हैं। तो ये जो आपने सवाल किया, युद्ध के खिलाफ औरतें हमेशा संघर्ष करती रही हैं। एक तो सीधी सी बात है कि भाई उनके ही बच्चे मरते हैं युद्ध में, उनके ही बेटे मरते हैं, अब तो बेटियां भी आर्मी में शामिल हो रही तो वो मरेंगी, यानी कि आपका जो अपना अंश है वही उसमें खत्म होता है। तो इसलिए ये भी एक बहुत ही डीप वुंड है उनके लिए, बहुत बड़ा घाव होता है।
सो इमोशनल, फिजिकल, स्पिरिचुअल तीनों लॉस है,
सब तरह से स्त्री का ही नुकसान है अगर आप युद्ध की बात करें। इसलिए पीस मूवमेंट्स अमेरिका वगैरह में और इंग्लैंड में तो न्यूक्लियर वॉर
डिसआर्मामेंट की जो
बात हुई थी ना, उसमें स्त्रियों की बहुत बड़ी भूमिका रही है। और हमारा ख्याल है कि हिंदुस्तान में भी जो फेमिनिस्ट हैं वो सब पीस लवर्स हैं, दे डोंट वांट एनी वॉर।
तो आपको कहीं लगता है कि बाय वर्च्यू ऑफ जेंडर वी आर प्रीडिस्पोज्ड टू बेटर परफॉर्म सर्टेन रोल्स?
ये भी एक बहुत अच्छा इलाका है हमारे रिसर्च का, और जो पोटेंशियल्स बताए जाते हैं कि इफ़ यू अलाउ विमेन, अभी तो शायद अमेरिका में एक शुरू हो गया है कोई सीरियल जैसा कि अगर स्त्रियों का आप जिम्मेदारी दें समाज और राजनीति चलाने के लिए तो वो क्या क्या कर सकती हैं। तो स्त्रियों की शक्ति तो अपार है और उनमें अच्छा कर सकने की शक्ति बहुत ज़्यादा है। बुरा भी वो करेंगी, भाई बुरे लोगों के संग में आप रहेंगे तो बुरा करना भी सीखेंगे, लेकिन उनकी शक्ति आप देखिए, इतने सारी युद्ध और वायलेंस, और उसके बावजूद वो अपने बच्चे पैदा करती हैं, उनको पालती हैं, उनको पढ़ाने को भेजती हैं, सबकी सेवा करती हैं, कोई बीमार हो उसकी सेवा स्त्री करती है। दुनिया में नर्सिंग जो प्रोफेशन है वो जैसे कि वो टोटली फेमिनाइज्ड है एक तरह से देखिए तो, केयर इकोनॉमी जिसको कहते हैं,
जहाँ भी नर्चरिंग की जरूरत है।
एग्जैक्टली, हर उसका है ये रोल, बहुत बड़ा रोल उसका रहा है। और इस रोल में लेकिन वो ट्रैप नहीं रहना चाहती, क्योंकि नर्चरिंग जो केयर का रोल है वो भी डोमेस्टिक लेबर का हिस्सा है और वो भी अनपेड फॉर है, तो उसका प्रॉब्लम है इसमें।
मतलब वो उसकी ताकतें हैं, उसको कमजोरियां मत बनाओ।
बिल्कुल एग्जैक्टली, उसकी जो ताकत है, उसकी जो क्षमता है, उसको कम करने के लिए हर प्रयास किया जाता है, जिससे समाज का ही नुकसान है। इस समाज के नुकसान को अगर आप कैलिब्रेट करें तो शायद हम कैलिब्रेट कर भी ना सकेंगे। इस संसार को स्त्रियां सुंदर बना सकती हैं, इतना मैं जानती हूँ। मेरी कविताओं में भी लगातार ये चीज़ें भरी पड़ी हैं कि विमेन हैव पॉजिटिव पावर्स, यू नो, विच दे seem to be not using because they are not allowed.
Right.
They are limited by various kinds of compulsions in which they can't perform their, their entire self is never employed in running the society.
Right. In fact, and there's a lot of historical context also to say that it's not men versus women. It's not men on one side and women on the other. Both have to nurture each other to succeed individually also.
Those men who are smart, those men who want to be happy, and those who are happy, they do exactly this. They look after their wives, they look after their daughters, their sisters, and they are forever happy because they get return, they get love, they get affection, they get care which they'll never get if they pay for that kind of care in the hospitals or wherever. It's a kind of pure affection that they receive in spite of everything that they do, to destroy them. And they should understand that clue or key to happiness is nurturing women, valuing them, valuing their labor, valuing their emotions, allowing them to function in the way they could function, because they have enormous capacity to do good to the society.
Even if a man or the male gender by itself says that I need to respect women because I'm taught to do that, I think the argument is much more. You need to respect, love and care for women because even your own happiness, joy, individual progress depends on that.
Exactly. And very rarely men are taught to value women, because our society, through various other kinds of impediments that we have, they are taught to treat people differently.
Okay.
Treat this person as this of this caste, this woman as of that caste. All kinds of these differences are taught to them in a negative manner. Whereas differences can be very beautiful things, and a difference can be very empowering.
Absolutely, without doubt. And in fact, we've always said unity in diversity, diversity is a strength. And here we have diversity of energies which actually co-create so beautifully, and we're not understanding that we need to love and respect diversity even in gender.
In a society, you will always have, you won't have men just of one kind, women just of one kind.
True.
It can never happen. Women are different, men are different, but even within these two broad differences, you have millions of other differences.
Right.
And they need to be understood, they need to be valued, they need to be developed in a positive manner. And I am telling you, I fear sometimes, to the extent we are violent towards women and to the extent we are violent towards nature, our survival situation is quite precarious. I mean, you might love your power, but what will you love if everything gets destroyed in the process? You have to understand this, that nature has to be protected, women have to be protected, children have to be protected, and men should sit together and say that let's not have so much violence.
Right.
Let's not have wars, for example, frequent wars. Let's not have these kinds of conflicts which would affect women, children, society in general. Let's work towards peaceful process of development, all right? Sustainable development, which is the slogan of gender, and a development which does not exhaust everything. Your profit motive should not be so acute that you destroy things in the process of exploiting it. You should leave something, for it to regrow, to be nurture it in such a way that it can be used by others. Sustainable development means being sensible,
Absolutely.
being rational,
Right.
Those kinds of things.
And actually, I think this whole concept of how we see profit is so warped. We just see profit in monetary terms, but there is so much more to profit. There's emotional profit, there's environmental profit, there is the profit of joy, all these. And if we start reading profit differently, I think we'll start living our lives differently.
Certainly, and one of the important issues or lessons of women's empowerment, I tell you, is to make people understand this particular point. Women's empowerment doesn't mean that men are going to be disempowered by this.
Right.
It's not one-to-one
It's not a
game
war,
like it's not a zero-sum game or nothing.
Right.
We are not so irrational. We want people to understand that there are different ways of being happy, there are different ways of being wealthy, there's a different way of flourishing, and if you really want to harness all of this, you will have to allow women to be treated fairly. They need to be empowered.
Right.
That's very important.
आप बहुत सारी महिलाओं से मिलते हो, बहुत सारे पुरुषों से भी आपने बात की है वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट के बारे में, तो वो कौन सी 3-4 चीज़ें हैं जो महिलाओं को लगती हैं कि हमें ये 3-4 चीज़ें मिलें तो वो हमारे लिए एम्पावरमेंट है?
ये महिलाएं ही नहीं, ये तो सरकारों को भी पता रहा है
जी।
उनको पता है कि क्या करना चाहिए, जिससे जैसे जेंडर डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स है, ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स है, उस तरह से जेंडर डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स भी है। उसमें शिक्षा, उसमें स्वास्थ्य, उसमें काम करने की आज़ादी, उसमें बोलने लिखने पढ़ने एक्सप्रेशन की आज़ादी, ये सब, उसमें जीवन जिसको कहते हैं मोर्टालिटी रेट, मदर्स की मोर्टालिटी रेट, चिल्ड्रन की मोर्टालिटी रेट, या सस्टेनेबिलिटी ऑफ लाइफ जिसको कहते हैं, ये सारी चीज़ें एम्पावरमेंट, वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट से रिलेटेड हैं। अगर आप इस देश में हेल्थ की व्यवस्था ठीक कर दें तो आप पाएंगे कि बहुत सारी स्त्रियां कहीं बेहतर जीवन जिएंगी। अगर आप उनकी शिक्षा की अच्छी व्यवस्था कर दें, ये सब बेसिक ज़रूरतें जो किसी के जीवन में भी एम्पावरमेंट ला सकती हैं, लेकिन स्त्रियों के जीवन में ये सबसे ज़्यादा इनकी कमियां हैं, इसलिए ये बहुत ही उभर करके मामला सामने आता है।
कहीं जैसे हम देख रहे हैं इनको सविता, बेसिक रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ हेल्थ एंड एजुकेशन, हम इनको एम्पावरमेंट बोल रहे हैं, पर ये तो बेसिक राइट है।
बिल्कुल बेसिक राइट है, और एम्पावरमेंट का क्वेश्चन इसलिए आता है क्योंकि ये सब चीज़ें आपकी एबिलिटीज़ को कम करती हैं। अगर आपको ये नहीं मिले तो
बिल्कुल
आपको ह्यूमन एबिलिटी में इन्वेस्ट करना है, उससे डेवलपमेंट होता है, ना कि सिर्फ आप कहें कि हम मैन्युफैक्चरिंग बढ़ाने जा रहे हैं, हम इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन करने जा रहे हैं, हम क्वेरिंग करने जा रहे हैं। That will of course help in some sort of economic development, but that's not the entire story of development.
In fact, there are enough studies to prove across nations that whether it's the social sector, the corporate sector, the political sector, the differentiator between country to country, company to company is human resource.
Yes.
Without
and now they have realized it, and they are actually progressing in that direction. But sometimes governments decide their priorities, all right, because they have come on certain kind of mandate, they're part of a certain group of people, certain group of economists, you know, all that. I must say that any government which diverts from this basic feminist understanding that development has got to be sustainable, and it has to reflect in through many indices than just the development of manufacturing or industrialization. If you neglect your agriculture, lot of women are going to suffer. Why? Most women are in the agriculture sector. If you neglect informal sector, women are going to be affected, because more than 80% women work in formal sector. It is like this, it's so interconnected. So that is something that governments have to realize. Manufacturing, women are not going to benefit a lot by prioritizing, you know, development of manufacturing, because 2-3% women work in manufacturing.
Right. That means this lens of gender sensitivity and what is the last mile effect on gender of any policy across any ministry or any unit is so critical.
It's very important. You have to realize. You see, sometimes I don't even say that you know, allow women, you know, some sort of policy in the agriculture sector, women specific. I simply say, please look after the problems of agriculture in India. If you invest properly, if you allow the infrastructure to develop over there, women will benefit automatically to some extent, because there is also patriarchy there too. You know, wages are not similar and so on and so forth. That can also be taken care of. But allow that particular sector to develop in a combined manner, then women will benefit.
You know, when we talk of women empowerment, feminism, the feminist movement, it's this whole thing that it's led by women, run by women, and I think this whole thing about somewhere the other gender starts fearing these movements. There's a strident quality, there's a shrillness to this whole thing and how it is viewed. So do you think that there are some areas where the movements could be corrected, or how do you remove this fear factor?
Yeah, fear factor is completely self-imposed. I tell you, it should not. Women have given no reason to men to fear, you know, this kind of restructuring,
because many of them just gang up,
they gang up, you know, this whole lot of rape and all that is taking place is also this mentality of men to gang up against women. You must understand, one man cannot overpower a woman and rape her, so they gang up. Gang rapes, you have to understand the psychology of gang rapes. the point is here is that men fear change in their privileged position.
Okay.
That is what they fear. They don't it is not women who are instilling fear in them. They fear loss of their own power, they fear loss of their privileges, uncalled for. You know, it's a really, that's not a privilege, that's really an exploitation which they consider to be privilege. It is that they fear psychologically, and it is that they don't want to change. You must know how to argue. You know, men cannot fear a movement, a women's movement which is asking for fairness in society. Lot of men would say that we are for fairness, yet when it comes to women's movement, they feel very afraid and insecure.
So this is so interesting, because whether it's the armed forces, not only in India, across the world, the police service, any uniformed service, corporations, even political bodies, wherever a woman is concerned and there's an issue, men tend to group and view it with a different lens.
Indeed.
And I think that comes, and it's across, and studies have proved, and women feel that men constantly gang up against us. They come together when it's an issue
They have the
involving a
benefit of the structure within which women and men are placed. You see, they have the advantage of patriarchy. It is the enhancement or accumulation of men's power. All right. So they all collectively feel that something is. One woman dresses up very nicely, she violates their sense of security. You know, she becomes a Rambha or some Urvashi suddenly. You know, if she comes, she's a Bechari, she's not, you know, just playing that perfect role of a submissive gender role of a woman, then nothing happens. All right, nothing happens in the sense they are not afraid of it.
They're comfortable with it.
They're very comfortable with that. But the moment there is a certain kind of smartness, certain kind of thinking, you know, even if she's smart in her work, that also invites all kinds of criticisms.
So any challenge.
Any challenge, yes.
Okay.
That's a problem
Right.
to them.
So how does sensitization then happen?
In the School of Gender Development Studies where I am,
Right.
I set up that school, by the way.
Okay.
In 2009, I joined as its first director. Now we have, after creating academic programs like MA in Gender and Development Studies and MA in Women's and Gender Studies, we have come to a position where we are making programs, specialized programs, that is what I mean to say, of gender sensitization and gender awareness. Any gender sensitization programs must come or should be preceded or proceeded, which should come after a gender awareness program.
Okay.
Lot of people commit these kinds of things in an unthinking manner because they are not aware, because they have imbibed this idea that men have to be like this and women have to be like this.
So they're playing their role perfectly.
Exactly. So they don't feel their self is not threatened by this. You know, they don't like crisis happening within. They think they are very stable. Men have got to be strong and stable self. The patriarchy teaches them that. Point here is that awareness, creating awareness, the fact that men should not fear women if they are doing well. They should rather appreciate them, because if women are working in corporations, for example, corporate sector, if they are bringing in more profit by way of smart thinking, by way of allowing corporate sector to value their labor, men will also benefit. Just as I was telling you, if you look after agriculture sector properly, women will automatically benefit at least to 40 to 50%.
Right.
So that kind of awareness we have to build. We have to give them data. Look, wherever women have worked, this is what has happened. You know, there was one study which pointed out when this economic crisis took place, international economic crisis,
Right.
lot of feminists got on to understand this in their own way. And one of the conclusions was that if women were represented in the at the leadership role, management role in these banks, they would have managed the crisis much better. They even might even have stopped that crisis, because they would have pursued policies in a very different manner.
Okay.
All right. So there are studies of this sort which tell you that allow women to
This
function,
enriches the pool much more.
exactly, and
Right.
it will be for the benefit of everyone.
Absolutely.
So gender awareness is very important. Lot of men will understand also. I'm not saying that they're so thick-headed.
Right.
It's just that they haven't cared to be aware or to be enlightened.
Right. Savita, जेंडर इश्यूज, जेंडर डिपार्टमेंट आपने सेट किया, ये पैशन कब डेवलप हुआ आप में?
मुझे लगता है कि लगभग सारी स्त्रियों में है, जो भी सोचती हैं, समझती हैं, जो सेंसिटिव हैं और जो थोड़ी रिबेलियस हैं, उनके अंदर ये होगा ही होगा, क्योंकि आप अनफेयर ट्रीटमेंट लगातार देख रहे होते हैं जब आप ग्रो कर रहे हैं। हर जगह जहाँ भी जाओ वो अनफेयर ट्रीटमेंट अपने विभत्स रूप में आ ही जाता है। तो मेरा ख्याल है कि ये तो अगर आप सेंसिटिव इंसान हैं तो आप जेंडर इश्यूज़ को लेकर के आप पैशनेट होंगे। लॉट ऑफ मेन आर ऑल्सो वेरी पैशनेट अबाउट इट, लेकिन अपॉर्चुनिटी टू सेट अप अ स्कूल ऑफ जेंडर doesn't come so easily.
And you were really excited about it.
Yeah, I thought about it very much, and it was a huge responsibility, and one had to work as an academic, also at the level of policy making. You know, the school worked very much closely with Ministry of Women and Child Development. We've set up networks with all institutions, frankly speaking, which were working in the area of gender. Gender doesn't talk about just women, and this is one of the aspects that we also have to understand. If you know why men feel threatened, for example, you were asking, I forgot to mention this. If you just make it an issue about women, then it is bound to have this kind of effect.
Okay.
It'll create this, even though unsound, but it'll create this effect that it's something against men. But gender allows you to study the same inequality in relation to men.
Okay.
It is this relationship. So when we talk about gender parity, we are talking about in relation to men's empowerment. Women's empowerment is an issue.
Okay.
Right? What is the percentage of men, educated men, for example? What is the percentage of healthy men, for example? You know, what is the percentage of men who participate in labor workforce, for example? In comparison to this, you study women's position.
Okay.
So it is like it's a much more scientific. It allows men to see, men and women both, to see that there is a problem, indeed there is an inequality, and then you can have a way forward as to how to close this gap. Every year you have a gender gap index which is generated, and India has been doing very badly for last so many years. It's really down somewhere in 126th position or something like that.
So tell me, in all these years of your work in this area, have we made really very little improvement in gender parity?
We have, as a nation. Our data is abysmal. Bangladesh is doing better, Sri Lanka is doing better on gender parity index than we are doing. Our women are in a very bad condition. If you look at gender index, for example, development index, if you look at the health index, look at education, everywhere you will find that things are moving very slowly for women.
So why is it? Because is it a cultural context, or is it not a priority with us?
No, it is a priority for government.
Okay.
It is just as I mentioned, implementation of policies are a matter of indifference to those who are in position to implement. Gender funds are not utilized, gender funds are diverted, so on and so forth. It only tells you that there is no awareness, there is no sensitivity of the kind that is required. If you have a fair society, it is a healthy society. You live better together. Gender.
So that means the intent of the policy has not been actually made a movement into the executors to see how important it is.
I want to, for example, I don't know whether you'll be able to telecast this, but tell me, Nirbhaya fund was created, another 1,000 crore has been added. I want to know what further steps have been taken to use that money for women's empowerment. Women's bank has been created. There is a seed money. I would like to know what has happened to that bank. How many women have opened their accounts? Somebody has got to see it. Some monitoring system has got to be set up for these things to be. So our school, from time to time, we do that. For example, for the first time in IGNOU, we had a workshop on gender mainstreaming. Gender budgeting is part of it, So that allows you to see how many ministries have made policies which are gender sensitive. How have they mainstreamed women's issues or gender issues? those kinds of things very important. And why should only women do it? Of course women should do it because they are affected, but why not those who are making these policies? It is their job, isn't it? They should also be reprimanded for not implementing it properly. So gender school, for example, our school is giving has created programs which allows people to have a perspective on women through gender lens, meaning you study situation of all genders, and then you see for yourself whose position is worse and whose position is brilliant.
Right.
No, that is
so you're not saying that the men are at the top and women at the bottom. You're saying men are also unempowered in areas, but women are abysmally
exactly.
unempowered.
And empowerment has got to be seen from a gender perspective, in the sense that there is no absolute way of saying that you are empowered and you are disempowered.
Right.
We are living together, so our empowerment is this kind of mutual mutual thing, and the benefits, this is a kind of a bygone conclusion. The benefits are for both genders or other genders as
so
well.
there are no silos, no compartments.
Exactly,
flow
exactly.
into
That's
one
what we have
another.
to understand.
All right.
Men and women have to work together for the betterment of this world. This is the message of women's empowerment. It is not women trying to sort of ridicule men or downgrade them or snatch away their privileges.
Right.
They should on their own give up some of their privileges, because they're oppressive. They're not good for women and for themselves also.
True. और सविता, ये तो सृष्टि का नियम है ना.
हाँ.
वो धरती कुछ देती है तो बीज कुछ बनता है.
Exactly.
और फिर बीज कुछ देता है तो धरती फिर से उसको उपजाऊ करती है.
Beautifully said.
So ये तो नियम है सृष्टि का. बिल्कुल.
So it's a very unnatural situation to oppress women from all sides, from all perspectives, at every level, and then say that we are a wonderful society. We are not a wonderful society. We should be very critical of who we are, and we should not be smug about who we are.
Constant self-reflection. I think that's
it's
very
important. Yes.
Right.
And men and women together, they both have to do this.
Without
also other genders. I must say, I champion other genders as well. I feel for them. How many people know about transgenders and their condition in this country? It's very bad. We should have compassion. We should become a compassionate society,
which is
instead of selfish.
about diversity and inclusivity.
Exactly.
Right. आपके भी बहुत डाइवर्स पहलू हैं. काफ़ी पे हमने नज़र डाली, मगर आप कवि भी हैं, पोइट्री भी लिखते हैं, तो उसके बारे में कुछ बताइए.
मैंने पोइट्री, फेमिनिस्ट पोइट्री, मैं तो हिंदी में लिख रही हूँ, क्योंकि ये भी इसकी भी एक राजनीति है कि आप मैं हिंदी भाषी हूँ, तो लिटरेचर का रिश्ता आपके उस लैंग्वेज से है जिसमें आप जी रहे होते हैं. ये नहीं मैं कहना चाहती कि मैं अंग्रेजी में हाफ द टाइम आई एम स्पीकिंग इंग्लिश, लेकिन हिंदी में आप जीवन जीते हैं, अपने प्राइवेट से प्राइवेट मोमेंट्स को जीते हैं, और पोइट्री उस इलाके में जाती है जिस इलाके में कोई उस तरह की स्ट्रक्चर्ड रैशनैलिटी नहीं है ना. तो पोइट्री बहुत एक्सपेंसिव, बहुत इंक्लूसिव है, और आपके सेल्फ का बिल्कुल ये कह सकते हैं कि उसका दूसरा रूप है, प्रतिरूप है ना.
कुछ शेयर करेंगे हमारे साथ.
तो मैंने हिंदी की दुनिया में डिक्लेयर किया कि मैं फेमिनिस्ट पोइट हूँ. उसको लेके बहुत सारी क्या बातें होती रही. मैंने कहा आई डोंट केयर, आपको यू हैव टू टेक इट. इफ यू वांट लाइक माय पोइट्री, लाइक माय स्टेटमेंट आल्सो दैट आई एम अ फेमिनिस्ट पोइट.
ओके.
तो मेरी कई किताबें हैं. पहली किताब 2001 में आई, अपने जैसा जीवन. दूसरी किताब नींद थी और रात थी आई 2005 में. 2013 में स्वप्न समय आया. इस बीच बहुत सारे ट्रांसलेशंस वगैरह आए, लेकिन मेरी ये कविता बहुत मशहूर है जिसका ट्रांसलेशन कई भाषाओं में हुआ है. मैं किसकी औरत हूँ, मैं किसका दिया खाती हूँ, मैं किसके पाँव दबाती हूँ, मैं किसकी मार सहती हूँ, और कौन है मेरा परमेश्वर. ये सवाल एक औरत रेल में जाती हुई एक दूसरी औरत से सवाल पूछती है, और ये जो औरत पूछ रही है वो बुजुर्ग है, और जो जिससे पूछा जा रहा है वो यंग है. तो कविता चलती जाती है. फिर ये जो लड़की है ये कहती है कि मैं किसी की औरत नहीं, मैं अपनी औरत हूँ, अपना दिया खाती हूँ, मैं किसी के मार नहीं सहती, और मेरा परमेश्वर कोई नहीं.
सो ब्यूटीफुल. सविता, बहुत अच्छा लगा आपसे बात करके, और आई थिंक द होल कॉन्वर्सेशन विद यू, I don't know about male empowerment or female empowerment or women empowerment. It's just human empowerment.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure talking to you as well.
Thank you.